Hey, we haven't done one like this in forever, right? Okay, so let's do one for each topic, I feel like. Yeah, kind of free-forming it, opens up time to work on other things, like some of the more involved episodes you've been asking for a while now. Cheers! Mega Man 3 is the best one. I know 2 will always be the iconic one because it's the first one most people played, because it got Nintendo Power coverage and people actually knew that it existed, unlike the first one, and thus it set the standard, but 3 takes all the stuff that worked into and builds on it with real franchise first. First appearance of Rush, first plot twist, Ree Wiley seems to be the good guy and then isn't, and that was new at the time, the debut of Proto Man, the return of the Yellow Devil, and you get to refight the Robot Masters from 2, or, okay, a guy who can use all their powers, but still basically them, before you even get to Wily's castle, so there's basically half another Mega Man game right in the middle of it. Yeah, I love all the NES Mega Mans, but for me it peaked at 3, and the franchise as a whole hasn't really gotten back there yet, although the first Mega Man X is pretty close. Now that there's been a fucking decade, is it okay for me to say that One More Day was a really stupid Spider-Man story, but on balance it was something that needed to happen, and in terms of overall results, the long-term effects of it have been overwhelmingly kinda positive? Like, look, I'm sorry, Peter and MJ being married was dumb stunt when they did it in the first place, it generated very few decent storylines that wouldn't have worked just as well without it, and it eventually left the franchise spinning its wheels for a very long time. By contrast, apart from some questionable character turns early on, the Brand New Day run was immediately solid, and Dan Slott's run has really been one for the books, even if you didn't like this or that arc or event. Individually, across the dramatic amount of time he spent on the book, Peter's more interesting now, Mary Jane is more interesting now. I mean, it was still the shittiest possible way for them to get here, but on balance, it turned out to be a win, and I hope they don't go back on it now. I don't get Daniel Bryan's character right now. Oh, hey, yeah, I also enjoy professional wrestling, even though I don't really do a lot of shows about it, so apologies to those of you for whom this part is all a bunch of ones and zeros. Yeah, I just can't really get a beat on his SmackDown storyline, i.e. feuding with Shane at all. It feels like he should be the heel, what with the continually rigging the game for 2 heel wrestlers, but they're also trying to be all quasi-realistic and play up how he's sad and he can't wrestle himself anymore as the motivation, which is more of a face thing in terms of sympathy, but like, it's not like there's some super unfair kayfabe reason for why he can't wrestle, like he lost a retirement match unfairly or something. The reason in the storyline is the same as the one in the real world. He's had a ridiculous number of concussions for a man his age, likely long-term damage already, and he's not cleared to compete. That's not really sympathetic anymore. That doesn't make the I want to get back in the ring thing sympathetic so much as suicidal. I mean, I get that this massively sucks for him, and they probably won't have him wrestle Shane, and this is eventually just a way to write him out of his contract when it's done, but everyone pretty much knows that if and when that happens, he's gonna go back to Ring of Honor or whatever, and it's hard for me to root for that in real life because it really seems like that's gonna end with him permanently injuring himself. And I hope I'm wrong about the entirety of that. I don't get why everybody gets all freaked out every time Boston Dynamics teaches one of those robots to do a trick, and yes, I saw that one Black Mirror thing too. For fuck's sake, people, looking at incredible leaps forward in technology and immediately trying to imagine the worst case scenario, or how it fits into the premise of some movie or TV show you remember, is probably like 80% of the reason why we don't make nearly as much cool shit as we could be making. Look, I like a good cautionary sci-fi premise as much as anybody does, but don't invent new things because they might be evil is not actually the moral of any of the good ones. Here's the thing. This kind of reaction is popular because everybody wants to be the I told you so person when something goes wrong and they're hedging their bets, but when it comes to wide-scale we're all fucked stuff, the rightest you ever generally get to be is almost, and only with the benefit of hindsight. And even then, the universe is generally gonna fuck you way harder, way before any of the backhandedly self-aggrandizing in man's own hubris scenarios do. Like, remember how we were supposed to be terrified of the gray goo apocalypse if we kept developing nanotechnology? Okay, you see this little bastard right here? That's called a marbled crayfish. It's a relatively new discovery in the species, and it's unique in that it reproduces through cloning. They're all female, they lay eggs without needing to be fertilized, and said eggs hatch into genetically identical copies of the mother, lather, rinse, and repeat for generation upon generation. They seem to have descended from a single ancestor, no one knows exactly how this happened, and now their population is exploding pretty much everywhere crayfish can be. There's your gray goo goo, folks, and it happened with biology, not technology. Now, this is not me saying, hey, never take any scientific precautions because you might slow down the jetpacks, but if you want something cutting edge to make your paranoia feel justified, maybe throw a little more worry onto stuff like asshole hackers can trick your grandpa into voting for the downfall of the country with algorithmically generated bullshit, and a little less of it at stuff like the prospect of your Roomba figuring out how to use a switchblade. Spider-Man Homecoming would still be the second most underwhelming Marvel Studios movie even if there hadn't already been better Spider-Man movies. No, it's not a bad movie, none of these are really bad, but it's mediocre, and frankly, the fact that they're generally of such high quality is all the reason to be annoyed that this wasn't better. They've got a really good, interesting cast, they know how to make these things. I really hope the Spider-Man series gets better, and if not, hey, at least the cartoon one looks pretty good. Pineapple is fine on pizza. In fact, it's one of the better sweet toppings that isn't just arranging the tomato part differently. A sweet note in an otherwise savory dish is a really basic food prep flavor complexity thing, and yeah, it's not authentic Italian, but neither is like spaghetti and meatballs, and that shit is fucking delicious. The problem is most places and people put pineapple on the pizza in shitty ways. Pineapple is somewhat dense and fibrous fruit that retains a lot of its juice. Putting it on in big chunks or on the whole disc might look pretty, but it sucks to eat because it usually mucks up the integrity of the slice, and when it's that big, you end up with a lot of bites where it's just pineapple overpowering the rest of the flavor profile. You want good pineapple on pizza? Dice it up small and sprinkle it. Oh, and everything I just said about pineapple, same thing for onions. Nothing fucks up good veggie pizza like the onions being all awkwardly long and stringy instead of diced up for eatability and flavor maximization. And I probably shouldn't have done a food one because now I really need to go make dinner. Hope you all enjoyed this grumpy digression, and if not, I'm sure you'll tell me. Hey gang, here's a question that keeps coming up. If your handle is MOVIEBOB, where are your movie reviews? Well, my old reviews are in a lot of places. You'll find many of them on my YouTube channel, but you'll find the brand new ones on Geek.com, an awesome site that's also your one-stop news source for science, TV, gaming, technology, nerd culture, the works. You can find all my reviews directly by going to geek.com/author/bchipman, because that's my real name, and you can get regular updates on all my reviews and all of Geek.com's other great content by signing up for their kick-ass newsletter at subscribe.geek.com. And don't forget to also subscribe to the Geek.com YouTube channel, where you'll find the videos that accompany my reviews and tons of other great content too. Remember, that's Geek.com, the Geek.com newsletter, and Geek.com on YouTube. Make sure you don't miss out on all the latest MovieBob reviews. You can also check out my own new website, MovieBob Central, where you'll find my blog, links to all my work, and shop for my books, ebooks, and future MovieBob products. And please remember to like these videos, share them with all of your friends, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching another MovieBob production.